Hello again everyone, I'm Nesbit, you're the people of Skyrim, and today's video is all about grass, the biggest bugbear of my life in the whole of 10 years of Skyrim. Now I'll first say that this is all a personal choice, and what I've done is, in Beth INI, I can turn off grass for PC. And I never used the option. I always tried to deploy grass because there's a part of me that liked it and liked the way it filled out the landscape. Simply because I never really found, I suppose, textures that could do the job for me. But that's all changed recently. I've reviewed and gone back over a lot of things that I thought about how I wanted my game to be. And I've explored some options. And I'm running Wine Dave's ground textures with his 8K mountains and rocks and all that, and I've got to say, who needs grass? I can finally get rid of grass, and I've got this in front of you. I never liked grass because as a mod author that built all over Skyrim, grass would always intrude upon my settlements or affect the landscapes, even if I'd reduce the level of grass or put landscapes above or below. There was always some issue which would need patching, and of course because I developed over the whole of Skyrim, there was a hell of a lot of patching required, you know, or there was always something with the grass mod that just spoilt the game and spoilt TPOS2 for me. When I made TPOS2 V10, that did change a lot because the settlements all went, and I rebuilt them over rivers, or I'm going to, I was going to build them on rocky terrain or platforms where the grass wouldn't interfere. So that's the plan for the future, and of course that will help other users of the TPOS V10 series. But in terms of my gameplay, I'm telling you why I'm never going to use grass again. I don't need to, because if you look at the textures and the ground textures I'm running here, they've got, little flowers and the sense of grass, stubbled grass, normal grass, and it really fits in to what I like, or what I think Skyrim should be. Skyrim's a cold climate. Even in the warmer areas, I just don't think you'd see a lot of flowing tundra grass, simply because, you've got wildlife there constantly grazing. You've got the extreme weathers, which would undermine the grass. It's just never really. That's another reason I'm really happy after 10 years with what I've got here, because I've now got a tundra that I actually really want and a tundra that I actually really like. And again, you have to wait for the right textures and LODs, terrain LODs to be done, and all these elements to come together. And this is why Skyrim is still worth playing after 10 years. I'm looking at this game now, and I'm recording over this game, and I'm looking at the lovely detail in the game. And okay, I'm not doing a great deal in terms of gameplay. I'm traveling the tundra, and I'm showing you my argument for why I'm not going to be using grass again. And also, of course, because with TPOS2 you have all the extra ruins, you have the extra wildlife here I've added from the DLC. I just like those coloured boards. They're brilliant. I really like those, so I wanted some of those in my game on the tundra. And as I was saying, I've got these added landscapes, I've got these border holds, I've got these lovely reflections in waters now. I've got water for EMB, and I've got all these other little elements that I want, that I've put in from my mod, like this Talos outpost, and the invasion of the Thalmor here on this outpost for worshippers. But the most important thing is the grounds around all this activity look great. They look absolutely fantastic. And it's, good quality textures, a nice looking ground, and those stones there, as you're moving through that tundra, and I'm looking at the dimensions in that stone, the mountains, regions as well, and the stonework from Wine Dave's 8K, mountain textures, brilliant. And just the way I love the water as well, and the way the water EMB, and again the EMB mod itself, and the way that it brings and harmonizes the water and the land as together, and unlike that you don't get in vanilla. And so when people go on about this Skyrim Special Edition 10-year anniversary, and they're going on about the new version coming out and all that extra CC content that you're going to get, some of it never been released before, and then you're looking at this. I mean, in terms of even modern games, Skyrim is keeping up with it, in terms of look and the way it feels with modern titles for me. I mean, I just, I've watched a lot of videos on modern titles, and some of them, there's a couple that really sparked my interest in terms of the future, maybe. But still, Skyrim, when I look at this, I'm playing this game and I'm looking at this on screen, and I just think it's a wonderful experience. It really is. I really love it. And I guess that's why I'm still here 10 years later. You got Matthew's not ground textures, but you've got all his plants there as well, and his trees, which just add that extra dimension. We've got really blended roads in there as well, and it all goes so nice. I mean, just look at this. Even the LODs, for the first time, I'm actually happy with the LODs that I got in the distance for the Tundra. Yeah? These are other elements of the Tundra area from TPS2. Themes on the Civil War, of course, bridges, new bridges. You can see the towers in the background there. I won't tell you what that is in case you've never played TPS2. But you look at these LODs and you look at the feel of what you're looking at here, and there's no loss from not having any grass. In fact, if anything, it enhances it. And I'll tell you why. Because for me, even all the grass mods out there, even if you can adjust your values so you don't get dense grass, even in populated regions, the quality of the grass doesn't look great. You can't have too high textures for the grass because there's so much of it, and it would just eat up the resources of the PC, the graphics card and so on. So for me, this is a bonus all round. I don't know what your views are on this. I'm sure many of you will hate what you see, and you love your long grass. Well, it's all down to personal choice, isn't it? But for me, I just wanted to share this and why I will no longer ever be using grass unless a grass mod comes along with quality grass and dimensional grass like what Matthew produces, not this flat 2D grass, with a real sense of movement. And with quality when you're looking at it fairly close. Someone produces a mod like that, and also where you can edit, and avoid huge amounts of patching, they'll have my vote. But until then, I'm done with grass mods as an author. They're a pain in the ass. They've always been a pain in the ass. And for me, this is it. This is, this is the, this is, what's the terms they use when they call something, it's just the pinnacle of what I've always wanted from the Skyrim game. It's taken 10 years to get here. But I think, with what I've been doing today and what I've been looking at, I've got what I want, and I'm really happy with it. And I think it looks great. I'm using Obsidian, just so if you're wondering, I'm using Obsidian Weathers with Rembrandt EMB. I was using Fireman's, but I changed it up because when I saw Wine Dave's rocks, the Rembrandt EMB with this was just perfect because it was something I used to use before I was trying to find this new look that I've been trying to find in the last few months, and I finally got there. So this is why I'm not going to be using grass mods. Like I say, I don't know how you guys and girls feel about it. Feel free to comment. Would you play without any grass at all on PC, like you see here, or is just that whole Tundra, field grass experience your thing? And there's no way you play like this. For me, in the past, Tundra grass had its place, especially using some others, like some other grass mods, because they would add a little bit extra, and sometimes that would be useful, and you could adjust the values easier. You'd have a variation on grass as well and flowers, and that sometimes would cover up some of the evils when there wasn't a full set of ground textures. So in the past, grass for me had its place in terms of really hiding some things I just didn't want to see. But now, today in 2021, that's changed. For me, this is real quality. I'm running Wine Dave's ground textures. I'm running his rocks, his 8K rocks. And this is a real pleasure. You know, the mountains and the tundra looks fantastic. You know, let me know what you think. I really do. I would really want to know what you all think about this, you know. Because for me, in any environment now, wherever I go, the game, whether it's the sandy beaches, the volcanic region, the snowy areas, everywhere looks great. You know, the marsh region of Morthor. And, the game just looks really good. I'm really pleased with it. I'm coming near the end now of this video that I've recorded, and I just wanted to share that with you, and why I will never be using grass again unless someone comes out with a new grass mod which fulfills certain variables for me, and that will bring me back to it. Because right here, right now, with what I've got here, I don't need it. I don't need that grass. I've got grass, you know, normal, what I would call normal day-to-day grass. You know, especially in inhabited areas where you don't see long flowing grass. So, you know, I've got what I need for my game, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So in 2021, with the 10-year anniversary coming of Skyrim, you know, this is one of my arguments for why we can still be playing Skyrim, especially with all the new quest mods and everything else that's always coming out anyway. Skyrim is far from a dull or boring or has-been game. It's still got plenty to give, and mainly because of all those great mod authors out there and people involved in this community. I'm Nesbit. You're the people of Skyrim. Good gaming, folks.